Octopath Traveler was one of the very few exclusives to the Nintendo Switch, and not anymore because recently it's been ported to PC. And I say this because most of Nintendo Switch games are either ports or sequels or shovelware. And Octopath Traveler is not one of them. It's this not really new IP, but project, I guess you could say, as its original title was called Project Octopath. It's a really unique and fun and honestly beautiful RPG, having this really beautiful pixelated 3D like art style, and it's absolutely beautiful. Visuals and the animations all look stunning, and it's a very unique game and art style. And it has you playing as 8 different characters, not at the same time, but as you go throughout the game, you travel on and find new characters and see their stories, with 8 different stories and 8 different gameplay mechanics. Each character having their own gameplay mechanic, like for instance Primrose being able to allure other townsfolk to have them join your team, or things like Cyrus being able to investigate people and know about them. So short little things like that actually come a long way and can help you in the long run, as they help with side quests, items, and even battling, which comes out pretty handy. The bad part is you can't play as all 8 of these characters. You can only play as 4, as 4 are only in your party, and the other 4 will be in your tavern once you interact with them. You start off with 1, and that will be your main protagonist of the game, which is kind of the annoying part about this game, and mainly the thing that I didn't really like was that once you pick a protagonist, even though you may not know about the game or the character, you go in kind of if you're going in kind of blind, you don't know that character and what he or she has like in power, whether it's a special ability or their original class. You can always change your class to whatever you want. You can't have 2 of the same class though, but you can change that class once you unlock the class, which is a little bit of another annoying part, but you can't change your class immediately. But it's, I guess, a cool thing to try and find and collect and stuff like that. But that protagonist that you pick stays with you the entire time. You can't switch him out, or he or she. Me personally, I picked Cyrus, which wasn't too bad of an idea because he has mainly, I guess you could say, black magic type of stuff, which are like lightning spells, fire spells, and ice spells, which most enemies are weak to at least one of those things, which comes out pretty helpful. And but you could be stuck with someone like, I don't know, Tressa, who only has wind spells and can only use like spears and bows, I think, and isn't really that helpful in damage, but pretty helpful, I guess, in support and helping out, as she's able to like donate BP, and her different classes that you can put her as also can help as well. But you can't switch them out until I think after you've beaten everyone's chapters, or at the end of every chapter, which, or at the end of their chapter 4, I think, or before that. I don't really remember the exact point because it's been a while since I played this game, but it's a little annoying of that fact because that one protagonist that you chose is so high up in level that the other characters are lower, because the characters that you don't pick and are in the tavern that you have the other 4 don't get the experience or like experience share as you do when you battle. So you might be, your protagonist might be like level 40, and then your other characters in your party might be like level 35, and the other guys in the tavern might be level 30 or something like that. So it's a little bit unbalanced in levels, but if you go out and grind, you can have them all at the same level, especially when you get the ability to have these skills to increase your experience points, and like I said before, you can finally switch out the protagonists for another character once you, I think, either get to chapter 4 or beat chapter 4. I forget which one it is, but it's one of those two. So each character has 4 chapters, and at the end of that, there's actually a really, I guess, kind of optional, but I feel like it's the main final, or the big final boss. And although you're finishing everyone's story, they all come together and fight for one cause, which I thought was pretty cool. But I thought they should have done that for the chapter 4 of everyone, like in Primrose's, her main villain, or the main person that she wants to go after, is the man with the crow on the tattoo of a crow on his neck, I think it is. It's something in the center of his body, but that's his main that's her main objective, to kill that guy. And then Ulbrich, I forget, actually no, that one's not really a good example, but there's other examples like that. Like, you don't know this person, but they all have this like common enemy pretty much for most of the stories. And for me, I thought like that person was gonna be like, oh, that person's gonna be they're all gonna come together and fight this one person, and they're the head leader, the main villain of the entire 8 stories, and they all come together, and that's their main villain. And it didn't really come out to be like that, although the true ending, I guess, with the main final boss, or what's supposed to be the final boss, is a little bit similar to that, but not really. I thought that was how it's gonna be, because the characters don't interact with each other. They're 8 separate stories, and although they do share similarities with each other, whether it's side characters or the villains that they fight and stuff like that, they do come together as you learn more backstory throughout the final area of the game. And it's really cool in that fact, but I kind of wanted them to have like maybe 2 characters join up together in like chapter 3, and then another 2 join up, so that there's like teams of 2. There would be like 4 teams of 2, then those 4 teams of 2 maybe join up to be a team of 8 to fight their main villain for chapter 4. But that's not how it worked, but that's fine, because every character pretty much has a really great story in this game. There wasn't really a character that I was like, oh, this is a stupid story. They were all engaging and really cool to find out what happened, and to learn more about this character, or to learn more about this villain or whatever. And most of the like dialogue and stuff are actually voice acted too, which is also really cool, especially for like a 2D game that doesn't really have any mouth movements or animations of talking. It's just they're voice acted as the lines go on, which was a little bit annoying, because I don't think it was auto, which in Square Enix's other game, Bravely Second and Bravely Default, you could just press the auto button. And I think even in what's it called, Xenoblade Chronicles also does this, where you can just press the auto button and it will talk to you without having to press the A button to see the next line of dialogue. But instead you have to press A to do that, and then auto would just talk to you, and then when it stopped, it would just go to the next line or the next box of dialogue. And not all the dialogue is voice acted, but most of it is, which is really impressive and really cool, because this is a very long game, and the game will probably take you up to probably 60 hours, and then to beat the final boss, which is kind of optional, I guess you could say, will take another 20 hours, so that would probably take you 80, because final boss is really hard. It really is, and it takes a lot of grinding, and I think I got to like level 70, maybe level 80 to beat him, and then before I think I was like level 60 when I beat everyone's chapter 4, so 20 levels of grinding, which wasn't too much fun, but I got through it. And you know, that also helped me get the other special classes, as there are 4 special classes that aren't found. Like, there's the other classes like Thief, Cleric, all those things, and you just find them in a cave and just collect them. But then there's 4 special classes that have their own little dungeon to them, and in those dungeons you have to fight a boss that's pretty hard, and after beating that boss, then you get that special class, and those 4 special classes are actually really helpful to beating the final boss, and are pretty powerful too, with their own skills and stuff. As there's not only classes, there are skilled classes. As you get AP, I think it is. I don't know if it's AP in this game, but most games it's AP. I forget if it was AP or not. And you get AP, and then the AP goes to your class. You get a certain amount of AP, and then it doesn't automatically lock to that skill. You can just collect the AP and then use that AP for that skill. Like, it would be like needs 50 points of AP for first skill, and then second skill would be like 100 AP or something like that. So you would unlock them like that, which was a little bit annoying because usually you'd have to unlock them in order. So even though the last one may be like 5,000 AP or SP, whatever it was, you couldn't unlock that one. You had to get 1, 2, 3, 4, like all of them before that to get the last one. Usually the last one was the best one, so you had to get all the other ones before that to get that last skill that you may want for your team. And each character can have 4 skills, and they all could be different from different classes and stuff. So you'd have to grind with certain classes if you wanted a certain skill for that character, which added to the grinding. But I guess it just killed 2 birds with one stone, because you got grinding with levels, and then you get grinding with skills to the classes. But other than that, this game is really good. The gameplay is similar to, like, I'd say, I don't know, I'd say it's like a little bit similar to Xenoblade Chronicles, as it has like a break mechanic, where in Xenoblade Chronicles it's kind of like break, topple, launch, smash. But in this game, it's just you find their weakness, you break it, and you break the enemy. Like, the certain enemy would have like a shield, and then that shield would show a number. That number is how many times you have to hit him with your weakness, or with his weakness, I should say. Your characters don't have weaknesses, which is great, but they have weaknesses, and you can't find them out unless you use a skill, or if you use that like weapon or whatever. So if you use like a sword and they're not weak to sword, it won't show below their I don't think it's a name, but I think it's like just like a couple squares, and it won't show if it's not weak. But if it is weak, it'll say break, and it'll show the icon of whatever weapon you use that they were weak against, and then they would not be able to attack the next turn. And you also do more damage to braked enemies as well. So the break mechanic comes in really useful, and it's a little annoying because you'd be like, oh, is he weak to this? Is he weak to this? Especially for a boss fight. But then like the second time you fight the boss, it's the same weaknesses. So you're like, oh, I know what he's weak to now, so I don't have to continually experiment, and I can start working on his weakness immediately instead of trying to experiment with different weapons and spells and all that stuff. So I found that a little annoying too. I mean, you can always look it up online too, so just look up their weaknesses and stuff like that. But other than that, the boss fights really good too, because you see like the little pixelated characters and stuff, and then you fight the boss, and it's just like very detailed and very scary too, because they're like so much bigger than you are, and menacing. And especially the music that goes along with it, the music for the boss battles, so good. And each character actually has their own theme in the beginning, and then it transforms, or like it transitions into the battle theme that everyone kind of shares, because the boss theme is the same for every character, but in the beginning it's the character's theme. but then it I already forget the word already. it transitions to the boss theme, which is, by the way, really good. And the soundtrack for this game is really, really good. Honestly, one of the best soundtracks. And I'm surprised this game actually didn't get any awards for the Game Awards last year, as honestly, it did so many things well, but yet it just didn't get anything. And I'm glad that it did get ported to the computer or the PC for some reasons. Just like I said, it deserves some rewards, right? And it is just such a great game. But at the same time, now it's not a Switch exclusive anymore. Although it is a console exclusive, it's not Switch exclusive because it's on PC. But still a great game, and play it portably, play it on TV. It's pretty much the same thing, because of its kind of 2D graphics with a 3D environment, which, by the way, like I said, really great art style choice and everything like that. But yeah, really great game, great cast of characters, great voice acting, great stories, epic boss battles, great music. Everything about this game is just good, and the only problems that I had, like I said, not being able to switch out with the protagonist in the beginning, not being able to get the skill you want for that class, because it's all the way at the bottom and you have to get everything else before. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much about it. There wasn't really any other problems that I had with it, because once you like died from a boss, it wasn't like other games where it's like, oh, you go back to the last save point. And although you kind of do that, it's not like the last time that you saved, because actually it probably is, because this game autosaves, which is great. Not like other RPGs where you have to constantly remember to save and find like a save point. Although there are save points in this game, every time you enter like a room or a new room, it autosaves, which is also good. But yeah, also I kind of was a little annoyed that this game doesn't really have a fast forward feature similar to what's it called, Bravely Default, going back to that game. And instead it has like this BP meter, which isn't really a fast forward type of thing, but it's where you're able to attack or use a spell or have a more powerful spell multiple times, and that helps destroying the weakness a lot quicker, also doing a lot more damage. But once you use that BP, you can only use it like 4 is the max amount that you could use it, and every turn you get 1 BP. But if you use it, then the next turn you don't get any BP, but the turn after you start gaining BP again. And that's also another cool mechanic that I actually forgot to mention, which is the BP. And that's pretty much about it, but it's very strategic on like, ooh, do I want to waste my BP here and like for healing power, or should I wait and then wait till my BP is like max, which I think is 5, so you can use 4 but you cannot 5, and wait till it's max and then use it. So a lot of strategy goes into it, because then you also have like the break mechanic where it's like, ooh, should I boost, should I use up all my BP to break him, or should I wait until he is broken and then use all my BP to do a really powerful attack once he's broken, because then I'd do more damage. So it's either, do I make him break immediately so that he doesn't attack next turn, maybe I can heal myself and do some damage, do a little bit of damage, or do I wait and then use my BP to do a lot of damage and then maybe even heal the next turn or something like that, or heal when I'm waiting for him to get break. So a lot of strategy goes in, and there's many times where I have died because the bosses are pretty hard, and this game is a pretty tough game. Like I said, the final boss is probably one of the hardest final bosses that I fought. Although there is a good way that I kind of did to kind of cheese it, but yeah, that's it's with Hannet and I think it was War Master, where it's like you have a skill that you're at 1 HP, and like the more you do more damage, the lower your HP is, and you do like this really powerful attack that does like 9,999 damage, or actually I think more than that, because there's another skill that you can get where you can go beyond 9,999 damage for each attack, and then she attacks like 5 times with like 50,000 damage each attack, and then just one shots the boss pretty much, which pretty much cheeses the final boss. But you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Anyway, though, like I said, game is great. Honestly, if you haven't played it, really fun. Really recommend it. And I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. It's just really a fun and enjoyable game. I never really found it to be repetitive too much, although the random encounters do get a little bit annoying and you can't really turn it down, although you can use items or skills to take down the evasion rate, but or not the evasion rate, the random encounter rate, and that helps out a little bit, but it's not like going back to Bravely Default again, where you can set it to like enemies showing 0% or something like that to just explore the area and find treasure chests or stuff like that. 'Cause some of the treasure chests are pretty well hidden, and it's not really a puzzle aspect like something like Golden Sun where you have to do puzzle solving, but it's more like just finding nooks and crannies and finding secret passageways to find some of the better treasure chests. And another thing, going back to the treasure chests, is that there are these special, I think, blue treasure chests. I forget which color they were, but they could only be opened by Therion, or I think you had to be a thief, but I forget which one it was. I think it was only Therion could open these chests, which made it a little annoying, because you have to, if you find these chests, you're like, oh, I have to now travel back with Therion to get to it. And although there are a lot of fast travel points, they're all just main towns. They're not any of the dungeons, which was a little annoying too, that you couldn't fast travel to a dungeon. But this has a pretty big open world. There's a lot of places that you can go, but you might die because some of the enemies will be higher level than you. But yeah, it's pretty much an open world, because they're pretty much every area you can go into. I think there are a few restrictions, but yeah. But as I was saying before, trying to wrap up the video, that's gonna be it. So if I rate it, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. Just overall, fun RPG, great stories, great characters, like I said before, everything else. It's a really fun game. Highly recommend it. If you have Switch, like I said, it's on PC now, so if you have on the PC, you can get it. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more reviews right here on Town Deck. Bye.